Today on Marriage Matters with McCracken, I want to talk for just a few minutes about 5 ideal steps for resolving conflict in marriage. And I always like to give credit where credit's due when I can remember where I saw or read something. But in this case, I don't, and I didn't record it. And I apologize to whoever came up with this first, but it wasn't me. But I think it's good. And so I'm just going to say very quickly there are 5 ideal steps for resolving conflict in marriage. And the first is the letter I, which means isolate temporarily. Isolate temporarily. It's okay to walk away if you need to cool down. When that part of your brain is lighting up because the emotions are high and tense, the rational part of your brain does not work well. So take a break, but don't take a break and make the mistake of not coming back to talk about the issue. Take a break to better communicate. In other words, cool down and come back. Cool down, and before you isolate temporarily, agree on a time you're going to come back together after you've had a chance to cool down and when it's going to be a good time to talk about this issue. So don't make the mistake of taking a break and then never coming back because now everybody's at peace and you don't want to rock the boat. No, take a break and say, we're going to come back in half an hour and talk this through, or we're going to come back tomorrow right after lunch, or we're going to come back at this specific day and this specific time to talk about this issue. So letter I is isolate temporarily. It's okay to walk away to cool down. D for the word ideal, D is define the problem. You say, well, she's the problem or he's the problem. No, neither one of you are the problem. You're the team, and you're taking the issue that's between you and you're putting it to the side and you're coming together in order to focus on defining the problem. Try to get to the root issue. Try to answer the question, why am I so upset? Try to get to even answer the question when you answer that one with another why. Well, why does that make me so upset? Well, why? Get to the why behind the why behind the why, and you'll get to the root issue. And that's the problem that you want to define. So isolate temporarily, define the problem. Make sure you agree as a team. What is the issue we're really working on here? E in the word ideal is examine your own heart. It's easy to see the other as the adversary or the opponent, but you're a team. So look at your own heart and see how are you contributing to the tension, to the problem, to the roadblock, to this obstacle. How are you contributing? And it might be that you are 100% correct in what you're saying and 100% wrong in how you're saying it. Maybe you're part of the problem in your attitude. Maybe you're part of the problem in your criticism and your judgment and your impatience. Maybe you're part of the problem. So examine your own heart to see how you're contributing to the difficulty here. And then A in the word ideal is actively listen to your spouse. Actively listen means you give them a chance to speak and you say back to them what you think that they're saying. But even a step further, I would say would be trying to figure out the feeling and the emotion behind what they're saying. And you will know that you have been successful when you can say back to them, is this how you're feeling? And they say, yeah, you got it. That's exactly it. Doesn't mean you agree with what they're saying or you agree with how they're seeing it. It just means you're listening well enough that you can articulate back what they're thinking and how they're feeling. And then finally, the letter L is list your contributions and solutions. This is where you brainstorm together. List out potential solutions to this, no matter how wacky or crazy they might be. And then and do that without evaluating, and then go back and evaluate each one and throw out the ones that aren't any good at all, throw out the ones you agree maybe to try later, come back to it at another time, but keep the ones where you both say, yeah, here are our first steps to resolving this. Here are the things that we can agree that we'll work on together as part of our solutions. You know, a little exercise you might want to try right now is just to think back in the most recent argument that you had with your spouse. Which of these 5 steps did you practice as you tried to work it through, and which ones did you not? And try to maybe revisit it with adding the steps that you did not practice during your last disagreement. And how, answer this question, how could the conflict have been resolved differently using this ideal framework? IDEAL. Remember, marriage in the light of God's love is not 50% and 50%. It should be 100% and 100%. And also don't forget, communication leads to more communication. Assumptions lead to more assumptions. You will get more resolved communicating about it than you will ignoring it.